Hi there, wig lover. This is Heather from CysterWigs. The wig I'm currently wearing is a Smooth River by Clary's in wine red. So, love this wig. But I wanted to make sure I got to some of the excellent questions that people have been asking me, so I didn't want to squander this opportunity to make an AMA video, so let's get started, shall we? So this question came from two different people on our comments for AMA videos. One is Love is Automatic, and the other one is La Mater Familias, which I love both of those usernames, by the way. The question that they wanted to ask is, you know, basically related to how things are marketed, and I think that this is a really good question, honestly. So why do these companies overstyle the wigs to sell them? That's the obvious answer. Let me get to the part nobody wants to hear, okay? Because it means that we all are to blame for this a little bit. So buckle up. It's about to get bumpy. Practically speaking, styling the hair has some benefits. One, it showcases the layering a little bit better, whereas if it had, you know, box head, like it just came out of the box and it's all really flat, it'd be really hard to see what the layering of the wig looks like. And the other thing is, they're assuming you're gonna take it home and style it. They're not assuming that you're gonna do like I do in my wig reviews and you're just gonna plop it on. They're assuming you're gonna style it up. So it's like aspirational a little bit. You know, they're showing you what you can do with this hair. Though I feel you. I know why seeing it right out of the box is so important. It's part of the reason why I'm in this industry in the first place and why all of my reviews are fresh out of the box, so you can actually see what it looks like, box hair and all. Here is the reason, though, that they do this, aside from those two things. It makes the product look sexy. It makes it more appealing. And it gives you the indication that that brand is focusing on online sales. How do I know that with such confidence? Well, because when they're not marketing to an online market, when they're marketing to people like me who own stores or to salon owners, the wigs themselves are not styled nearly as much. You could tell which brands do this, by the way. Henry Margu, Tony of Beverly, they're very good examples of this. Estetica used to be a pretty good example of this, but they're shifting focus towards online sales. Before that, they would do model pictures still most of the time, but they would be like more like catalog shots. You know what people tend to gravitate towards online? Sexy, overstyled model pics. But as Love is Automatic mentioned in her question, she mentions FY, Forever Young. You would never even know who the heck Forever Young was if it weren't for those model pictures. Think about that. It's a cosplay brand, basically. They're a direct from China brand that has high fashion shots. And if it weren't for those high fashion model pics, no one would buy that brand. That is the truth. They have some very cute styles, and I've flirted multiple times with bringing them to the site, but I just don't know how because the quality is so low compared to the medical brands that we carry on the site already. And I didn't want to confuse people because guess what people on the internet want? They want the cheapest possible hair, and they want it to look like they spent $50,000 on it. You know, that's an exaggeration, but they want perfect hair right out of the box on a dime. And while if you know a lot about styling your own wigs and how to doctor them up, that is possible. It really is. It requires a lot of work on your part to make that happen. And your average white wig buyer is going to be getting into this game too late to really know how to style a lot of that hair. You know, it's a whole new ball game for most of us because we don't get into it willingly like most of the women in the African American hair goods market do. They do it, you know, culturally and for fun. And it's, you know, an embraced part of expressing their style. You know, we don't really have much of that, though. I hope that's changing, and I hope that us talking about this stuff helps change that, because it is. It's a lot of fun. It's very liberating in a weird way to be able to change your style and have the hair that God didn't give you. You can kind of give it to yourself, you know? But I digress. It is that. It's the fact that that's going to grab your attention. That's what's going to sell that product. And that's its entire reason for existing, because you're gonna buy it based upon what that picture looks like. And I know nobody wants to hear that. Nobody wants to hear it, but I'm guilty of it too. I mean, why do we all assume insert the name of your favorite brand here has the best hair? It's the marketing. And there's that answer, as uncomfortable as it may be. If we responded to the plain pictures, they wouldn't need to spend, you know, $20,000 to $40,000 on just a single model shoot. Now would they? That's an investment that they're putting into those pictures because they know that's what it's going to take to sell that product. And if you find this to be personally sort of abhorrent, you may want to kind of think about your personal attitude towards advertising and marketing. Try to become a little bit more self-aware of it. You know, I used to work for an advertising agency. You become hyper attuned to it because you're surrounded by, you know, these subtle forms of manipulation all the time. And so even though I don't work at the advertising agency anymore, I'm constantly looking for them. I went to the World of Coca-Cola this past weekend in Atlanta with my friend Spencer, who came in from out of town. And I was skeptical of going because he really wanted to go, but I can't drink carbonated anything, and I can't drink sugar sweetened anything, you know, because I've had this gastric sleeve surgery. But I was like, he wants to go, we'll go. I gotta tell you, it was basically just a museum of their advertising. And they start the whole thing with a 6.5-minute video that they force you to watch before you can gain access to the rest of the World of Coca-Cola. And the whole thing, I swear to you, I wish I were making this up. They basically show you all these montages of beautiful people. Funny enough, none of these people in any of the Coca-Cola advertisements happen to have a weight problem. They drink tons of Coca-Cola, but no weight problem. That's a problem to me, you know, but they don't want to associate their brand with obesity. So that should really be worrisome, right? That was my first observation. My second observation of their marketing was that they showed you all of these montages in this video of people getting married and somebody announcing to, you know, their parents that they're gonna have a grandkid, and like all these really touching, universally appealing sort of things. Beautifully shot, good actors making it look spontaneous, you know, no mention of Coca-Cola anywhere. And the whole time I'm sitting there as a naturally skeptical human being with a social science background, and I was like, okay, so what does any of this stuff have to do with Coca-Cola? And then eventually, at the very end of the video, just literally the last 30 seconds, they showed these people drinking Coca-Cola, you know, together as families at the ball game, and after announcing the child, and after the marriage, and all this stuff. I'm sure that this was made to sort of endear you to the brand, but I felt like it was an indoctrination. I felt like they were telling me their mission statement to brainwash me into the cult of good feels, and then hit me over the head with the product placement. Because if they put the product placement in the whole way through, you are going to be turned off by a 6.5-minute infomercial. But if it's an infomercial that doesn't look like an infomercial, you're probably just gonna walk away with a smile. They're basically just peddling optimism and good feels under the guise of whatever product they have. I've told you in other videos that marketing is basically just selling you happiness. A lot of people are aware that marketing is really insidious, but they have no idea how insidious it really is. They have no idea that Facebook's not really free. You pay for Facebook and all social media that you don't pay for by offering up your personal information and by allowing marketers like me to gain direct access to you via just running some metrics in the background. You need to be aware. You need to wake up, because if you don't like this stuff and you don't like the marketing, choose differently. If we all chose the real option as opposed to the smoke and mirrors glamour, then that's what they'd give us. That's it at the end of the day. Really start thinking about the advertising you're seeing. Look at all the women in tracksuits that peddle yogurt and cleaning supplies with a smile on their face. Oh, you just trashed my house, silly men. Ha ha ha. Like, think about that. Think about these tropes and these marketing narratives, because they're not just in commercials. They're everywhere. And we buy them hook, line, and sinker. And this is just another extension of that. If people bought the plain looking wig on the plain looking model that wasn't in a high fashion shoot, then that's what they would give us online too. But people like looking at the high fashion shoots. They like the fancy lighting, the heavy editing, the ultra stylized photos. They like the really super skinny models. And if they didn't, we would get something different. So we can be the change we want to see in the universe, especially when it comes to marketing. Our dollars are how we vote. So just keep that in mind. All right. Love you guys. Talk to you later, and look forward to making another AMA for you next week. Bye, everybody.